Okay, so here we are at the dining room table. Bunch of junk, everything else. There we go. All my lesson plans. Okay, so 8th grade. This is pretty much how we are going to be learning the next few days, week or so. So listen up. My homeroom, you're going to probably get some lessons from me, but for the most part, I know Miss Jackson's class, you'll probably get lessons from just from these YouTube videos. And I have not figured out how to go back and forth. At least I don't think I can during a video for you to see me as well as to see like what I'm doing. So I'm just going to face it at what I'm doing. So first things first, our I can statements. I can prove the Pythagorean theorem and its converse. And when you're watching the video, you're going to be able to pause and do different things on your own so that you can write things down that you want to. So we need to first start out by saying what is the actual Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem, and I spell it wrong every time, so I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. The Pythagorean theorem, it only works with a right triangle. And basically what we do is we use this theorem, which is just a fancy word for rule, to find missing sides. We'll just say missing side lengths. Okay, so what that theorem actually is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now you probably heard that before. You may have seen that before. It's probably been on the map test. It definitely is going to be on this park test, so I want to make sure that you are exposed to it. What this means is if I have a right triangle, this is your most basic of right triangles, we have the two sides that make up the right angle. This side and this side. Those sides are both called legs. If you want to think of it in terms of the two legs on a body that, hold things up, then that's fine. This, on the other hand, is called the hypotenuse. So a few things that we need to know about the legs and the hypotenuse. Get a different marker here. This is not as easy as I thought with still having to hold this in one hand. So our two legs, they form the right angle. And we call those either A or B in terms of your A and your B. It doesn't really matter which one is which. I can say this is A and this is B, or this is A and this is B. Doesn't really matter. However, your hypotenuse is always C, and that is always the longest side of the right triangle. Always the longest. Okay? So we have our A, we have our B, we have our C. Basically, what you're going to be doing is they're going to be giving you some information, and you're going to draw a triangle to fit that description if needed, and you're going to be finding a missing side. Okay? Okay, I had to get a few things adjusted here. So let's look at the guided page, the first worksheet that you have. It says, a triangular section on the map has sides and lengths of 5 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and 9 kilometers. Is it a right triangle? Well, basically they want you to prove and say, hey, if I put those numbers in the spots of the two legs and the hypotenuse, is this formula actually going to be true? So you can make the triangle if you want. It doesn't really matter. They said one side was 5 kilometers and the other side was 5 kilometers and this side was 9 kilometers. And basically we're asking, is that a right triangle? So I put a question mark there. So if it is, then when I take my A and square it and add my B and square it, it should equal to my C squared. So this is what's called the converse, or proving the Pythagorean theorem. So we start always with A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Substitute in for your values. So I'm going to go this way. So we have our A is 5, so that's 5 squared, plus our B is 5, so that's 5 squared. And we want to know, is that equal to our C squared, which is 9 squared? We should know that this is 25 plus 25. Is that equal to our 81? We get 50. Is 50 equal to 81? I hope we all know the answer is no. So the answer to that question, is it a right triangle? We're going to say no, it is not a right triangle because the converse does not work. When we put it in there, it does not, when we put the numbers into the formula, it does not prove to be a right triangle.